Hello, and welcome to Ignite Your Personal Brand Virtual Summit. I'm your host, Darlene Hawley, and I'm so excited to kick off 2019 with these powerful stories and trainings to help you create an authentic, magnetizing, and profitable brand and business. In this series, I'll be interviewing amazing women who are sharing their story for why they started their journey into entrepreneurship, and they're sharing their top tips to make an impact on your bottom line to create a thriving business in 2019. And I'm so excited for today's guest. Please help me welcome Victoria. Hi, Victoria.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Great, too. I'm so excited to be on.
Perfect. I'm excited to have you here. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, some of your favorite things to do, and kind of why you came on this path to be an entrepreneur.
Okay, so my name is Victoria Zermeno, and I am a social media strategist, event coordinator, and wellness blogger. And I really jumped into the entrepreneurship journey because I wanted to create something that would allow women who hit rock bottom to find the light at the end of the tunnel. And through each of these, I've incorporated different ways to ensure that that always happens.
I love that. Perfect. So today we're going to talk a little bit about creating events because I think you're amazing. I've known you for quite a few months now, and watching you create events and workshops and retreats, they always look amazing. So when I started planning this retreat or this online summit, I was like, I have got to have Victoria here because she is on fire when it comes to making an event and not only bringing beautiful people together, but the pictures that I've seen, like the details and every little single thing that you put into it has been amazing. So I think the ladies in our community would love to know how to host workshops, possibly some retreats. So I want to really pick your brain today and really find out what your secret is, first of all, so that we can all do that too. And then also just get some ideas for how we can start collaborating and putting those ideas together.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
So I know you've been doing this for a little while. What is it about events and workshops that really called to you and brought you to start doing those?
I really love the in-person connections. And I think the energy that is brought when you bring together all of these powerful women is just life-changing. And you can't help but walk away ready to conquer the world because you can just feel it.
What was the first event that you ever hosted? Tell us a little bit about what the first looked like.
Well, the first one was, I used to be in the beauty industry. So the very first one was at Paul Mitchell, and we put on this huge, I can't even remember, it was about 5 years ago, but it was this huge event where people would dress up and dance and show different times and really emphasize on hair through each of these dance shows. And it turned out very beautiful, but it's definitely leveled up since then.
As it does with everything, we always get better the more we do it.
Yeah, definitely.
So perfect. So today, or now you do events where you bring these women together, and I know some of the last ones that you put together have been like vision board workshops, and you did a beautiful retreat not too long ago where you brought women together doing yoga and working on, I believe, mindfulness and really working on your mindset. So give us some hints to what are these first steps. So I want to host a workshop. Say one of us who's watching this wants to have a workshop. What are the first things we need to do to really set ourselves up for success? Because I know there's so many details that can be involved in it. Kind of take us back. How many months back, do we need to be planning this for weeks or months or years, or how long should we set ourselves up to plan a workshop?
For a workshop, I always recommend 2 months if possible. But if your heart is telling you that you want to do one in 2 weeks, I say go for it. Give it a try. Things don't always go according to plan, but that's totally okay. You learn every step of the way. And the very first thing that I recommend doing is finding your mission for that workshop, whether it's to make sure that people walk away with a vision or to make sure that they have a clear goal that they would like to achieve. Really emphasize on that and then break it down into what coordinators would be perfect for this or what speakers would really emphasize on this, and be able to impact the attendees to the extent where it would transform their lives. And so I break it down into the objective, the date, the time, whether or not there will be swag bags and sponsors, the number of attendees, and then I just run with it. I put it out there before it's even fully ready or before all the details are set in stone, and start including all of my followers in the process so that they feel like they're a part of creating the event with me. And if things change throughout the process, they feel like they were able to also give their input on the changes. I like to ask them, would you prefer this or would you prefer that? Or would you like this for the snacks, or would you rather have that? And I think that's one of the biggest things, is just really emphasizing on making sure all of your followers and future attendees are a part of the process.
Okay, that makes sense, because you definitely want to be speaking right to your ideal clients. These are people that are going to be coming to your workshop, that want to hang out with you and spend time. So making sure they're involved in that process makes a lot of sense. So tell me a little bit about, so we have the workshop plan. Maybe we know it's going to be 2 months from now. We've kind of set the time, the date. We know some of the basic fundamentals to it. Do you have any secrets for making sure we have the perfect venue? And then also, like, how do you pick a venue versus, is there a lot of detail that needs to come into it for how many people you have coming to your workshop, for the venue spaces that you pick, or how do you kind of determine where you're going to have your events at?
I usually pick the amount of people first. So
Okay.
depending on how many people will be at the event, I begin searching for venues, and I really just feel them out. And whichever one feels right, and whichever owner of the venue is equally as excited as I am, is usually how I will pick which one to go with. And when it comes to the decorating part, I usually keep it very simple, very minimalistic. And I've found that in the minimalism, it actually looks better on camera.
Yeah, I was going to say, the event you just did recently, the pictures looked like the venue was gorgeous. And I love that you say it was minimal. like it looked elaborate and gorgeous, but you're saying that you have minimal decorations and kind of keep it more simplified.
Yeah, I create a few accent points. So the center of the table, I create some type of space where everybody will shoot their pictures. And I like to also incorporate something where either your handle is right there where they're going to shoot all of their pictures, or a hashtag or something, so that no matter what, it always goes back to you, and you're able to get the recognition and really, as people begin posting pictures, even if they don't tag you or they don't state that they were at your event, they still know it was yours.
So good, because social media is such a big part of everything that we do as business owners now. So yeah, to have the hashtags and have that built into it could definitely make it nice.
Yeah.
Not having to worry about that.
Yeah, definitely.
So go ahead.
Oh, I was also going to say, I also recommend, if you do a giveaway, have them tag you for the giveaway. And that really allows them to, even if they don't follow you immediately, because they already tagged you in a post, then they are able to find you after the event.
Good. Yeah, and you do a lot of swag bags, I've noticed as well. Can you talk to us a little bit about that process? Because it looks like you have such amazing gifts. Is this stuff that you're getting donated? Is it stuff that you're purchasing as part of the event? How do swag bags even work when it comes to setting up a workshop?
Yeah, I personally love swag bags, and I love them because it really gives business owners the opportunity to shine through the swag bags as well. And I used to be a lip sense distributor, and I always wanted the opportunity to be able to just have somebody try my product, because I loved it so much. But if it wasn't in anybody's hands, then how would they know that they would love it too? So I really try to utilize the swag bags to give back, not just to the attendees, but also to all of the businesses that are ethical and that are really deserving of a spotlight. And with them, what I do is I usually will email them, and I only email brands that I truly believe in, or I'll post on Facebook groups. But I'm very selective about which ones I choose. And from there, it's more of a collaboration. So yes, I get their products, but in return, they get marketing. They get tagged on the posts. They get tagged on the stories. They get highlighted in a Facebook page. And now through the new strategic social Instagram, I will be highlighting them on there as well.
Okay. And that's like you said, when you said the word collaboration, that's the best thing about it too. It's like you're taking care of your clients and your customers that are coming to your workshop and giving them free goodies, which everybody loves. So it's like the perfect mint on the pillow. And then the businesses are getting free marketing. So they're going to get new clients. They're having their business marketed and shared out into the world as well. So it's definitely a win-win for both sides.
Yeah, it is. And I love that everybody gets to take something home too and get to try it all. And it's definitely fun to see all of the stories of all of the attendees trying all of the products that I already love and believe in.
Yes. So we have these beautiful events. So we're doing these workshops and we have it all planned and it's ready to go. How do you get people to your workshops? So I think a lot of people worry, like if they spend all this time and energy putting together the workshop, what if nobody shows up? So what are your top secrets? Share us, like, how do you get people to come to these workshops and really fill them up so that you're growing your audience and your business as well, and you're also giving the workshops that people need as well?
Yeah, so my biggest tip is to not be afraid to brag about how amazing your event is going to be, to post about it on Instagram, post about it on Facebook, Twitter, whatever works best for you, and to really put all of your energy into the content the caption that you put underneath that flyer or that post about your event, so that they can feel equally as excited. And I also utilize a lot of Facebook groups. I think Facebook groups are amazing for really connecting with women who are in our area as well. And anytime I do an event, I create a Facebook event as well, because then it shows up on local people's pages as well.
That's good, because you definitely want to capture people in your local community who might not have met you before, but they love what you're doing, or the workshop is definitely in line with what they're looking to see.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I also personally invite people who I think would be perfect for the event. So I think not being afraid to reach out to the people that you know will love it and that you know will really gain something from it, and just owning it.
Yeah, no, I love that. So once we have them there, or we have the venue, the workshop, everything's created, we have our audience. Is there a secret as well to how do you price it? I know I've had clients in the past who are looking at doing workshops and different things. And is there kind of a standard when it comes to a 2-hour workshop costs this much, or a full day or a full weekend retreat costs this much? Is there kind of a secret to figuring that out, or does it really just depend on specifics of the speakers that you've brought in and the venue and different things like that?
I mean, I think each and every one is different, and I think it totally just depends on who you want to target, who you think would be best for this event. So you can have a very high ticket sale and just make sure that you are reaching out to the people who would be perfect for it. Or you can have a very low priced event and just also make sure that you are letting them know that it is a lower price, so you're not going to get as extravagant of an event.
Yes, you're not going to have an elephant walk into the living room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Those are for the big ticket sales.
Yeah.
So I know that we've talked a lot about workshops, and I lightly just said retreats too, because I know that you do retreats as well. What is there a difference as far as like game planning when it comes to hosting a workshop versus a retreat? And what do you recommend as far as how to decide which one to start with?
I mean, I always just kind of go with my gut, but I do think it's smart to start off with events and work your way into a retreat at least a year into to doing events, so that you're building up your audience, you're building up that trust factor, and now they're willing to stay an entire weekend with you or 5 days with you, and really immerse themselves into whatever it is that you are going to give to them through that retreat.
Okay. And I know you talked a lot about too, we've mentioned the word collaboration. So I know that you're super passionate, like I am, of bringing women together and collaborating and growing our audiences and growing and motivating each other and inspiring. What are some ways that you can collaborate within your community to put some events together? Maybe you don't want to do it all on your own in the beginning. What are some ways that you can collaborate with people in your area to help put them on together?
Yeah. So usually what I do is I just, if I'm inspired by somebody, I let them know to grab a coffee with me or grab a bite and let's connect. And if it feels right, then I usually will just say, hey, would you like to, co-host this event with me? I think you'd be perfect for it. And I think just not being afraid to ask, because you never ask, you never know. And the majority of the time, women who are like-minded are totally going to be on board and want to support other amazing women. So just asking is such a big game changer.
Yeah. And there's so many, I know in our community, we actually are in the same community, and there's so many great resources and networking groups and different places that you can go to collaborate and find people who are like-minded. So if you don't have somebody yet, definitely find somebody who you can collaborate with and grow that partnership, because especially the first couple of workshops, it would be amazing, I know, to have other partners with you doing it, so that you have people to bounce ideas off of. You can brainstorm and kind of figure out what's going to work, what's not going to work. And then even after the event, going back to it and going, okay, what worked this time? What would we do different? How would we do this moving forward? Would we change anything? So I think making sure you have steps in place too, to not be afraid to do that first workshop and then go back to it too and say, oh, I love this part of it. Let's do this again. Or let's go even bigger in this area. The swag bags were a huge hit. Let's get bigger ones or whatever that is.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I honestly recommend almost always doing a collaboration. I think different women will gravitate towards different women. So it's great to have different types of energies that will each bring a little bit of something that the other one wouldn't.
Yes. Yeah, and that's huge, because everybody's personalities are different. We're going to attract different audiences. We're going to be able to contribute as a speaker, as a guest in different ways. And we're all going to bring something different to the table. So it's important to make sure you have a little bit of everybody in there.
Yeah. And then you're also able to tap into a completely different audience because then they bring people that you would have never met otherwise.
Yeah. So good. I think you'd mentioned before, I don't know if we talked about it today, but in the past, you've mentioned having sponsors. Is that just the sponsors? Are they typically as part of the swag bags, or is there other ways to have sponsors to help offset some of the costs for your event?
Yeah, so you are able to reach out to larger companies and getting money sponsorships. And the way to do that is to really make sure that you're able to show them who you are, what you're about, why they would be a great fit for that sponsorship, and what they'll gain from being it. So, I mean, there's people who can get up to 5,000, 10,000. You can get a good chunk of money from these different sponsors and from these different brands and businesses. And in turn, you can also give them so much. You can give them the event that they wanted to put on, but didn't have the time to do so. You can market their brand or their business in all of the backdrops, and then everybody has photos with this brand or business in the background. But that brand didn't have to go in and do all of the work to do that event.
Yeah, they just had to give you the tools and the resources to make sure that their name's being publicized and being put out into the space. So that's a great way, I think, too, because a lot of times events can be expensive. It's expensive sometimes to get venues in different areas. So if you can have sponsors to kind of help offset some of those costs, it's not something to where you make no money on the event or it's a complete wash. Because I've had friends, and I've even put on different workshops back early in my business. I did workshops probably about once a month, and I did them completely by myself. I went in even as far as by myself to where I was setting up the PowerPoint, the projector, everything was done by me. It was like the Darlene show. And it was stressful to have to go in and think of every single detail, but to have support and the financial support too to go with it. Because I'll admit, some of my first workshops, I did them for free and people left and I didn't even get a client out of it. So I was losing money at some of those workshops because, you know, you have to get the hotel space or rent space from somewhere. So I think it's important to make sure, like, going into it, I think now collaborating with other people and having those sponsorships and really making those relationships so that you can come out ahead and really grow your audience and grow your brand at the same time is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I do recommend, if you are investing, don't be afraid to charge. Don't be afraid to charge, even if it's just a small fee, because people are so much more likely to show up their best selves if they are paying.
Yes. And I think too, like, they're investing into themselves. So they're going to take more away from it too. Like you said, they're going to show up for the event. They're going to pay more attention. They're going to take notes. They're going to learn something, and they're going to have something to walk away for it. Because a lot of times when things are free, we might show up, we might learn something, we might not care as much. So it's nice to invest in ourselves as well.
Yes, definitely.
So what are some ways that we can make sure we have a success marker for a workshop? How do we go back afterwards? Like, what's your best tip for after the event for going back to make sure that you kind of hit on all the things that you wanted to hit, that you brought the right clients in, you had the right sponsors, you had the right swag bags, all those different pieces. Do you have a process that you work with your clients on for kind of how to make sure it was a success and plan ahead for the next one?
Yeah, and it actually starts at the event. So when I have everybody check in, I actually have them put their Instagram handle, their email address, and whether or not they would like to either get a free session or some type of complimentary thing that will allow them to connect with me on a deeper level after the event. And almost always, everybody always says yes. So,
yes.
So you're able to connect with them afterwards because they already gave you the okay to, and you're able to follow them on Instagram, and they're going to follow you back because they already connected with you. So they feel like they need to. And after that, I also use MailChimp, and I create these email templates with everybody's Instagrams as well, so that they can connect with each other, all of the brands and businesses that were sponsored, so that people can, if they really like that essential oil roller, they can just check their email and find out who gave it to them or who was that sponsor. And it talks about the speakers and just any information that I would like them to either walk away with, remember, or follow up with. And that way, when I contact them, they're not surprised.
Yes, I love that, because you're bringing it all back together too. And they have one resource they can go to and say, oh, this is who I want to connect to, or I met this person. And they're able to start building those relationships that maybe they didn't have a chance to talk to at the workshop, but they're able to go back and create that relationship and move forward that way.
Yeah, definitely. And I always recommend also having either a future event or something that they can have so that they can connect with you afterwards.
Yeah, sign up for your next workshop, right?
Yeah.
Well, right while they're there. I love that. No, because you definitely want to be marketing and showing them the next opportunities to work with you or to grow and invest in themselves. So that's perfect. Well, I think you've shared so many nuggets. I definitely have hosting some workshops and some trainings coming up in 2019 myself. So I definitely know that I'm going to be chatting with you. But if you could say what your top tip was for today from this training, or what your number one top tip is that you think that each of us need to take away from this, what would that be?
My top tip would just be to never give up. There's going to be hurdles, there's going to be obstacles, there's going to be things that do not go according to plan. But if you feel like this is what you need to do, don't stop. Keep going, and the outcome's going to be even better than you ever expected. So,
yes. Keep going. I love it. Yes, we have to keep going, always. One foot in step for the other every single time. So, and I know you have an amazing gift for everybody who's in the summit with us. Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, so I actually have the event template that I use to create every single event. So if you ever want to create your own event or collaborate on an event, you can utilize this to simplify everything for you.
Perfect. They're definitely going to want to get their hands on that.
Yes.
Yes. And then tell us how we can stay in touch with you and connect. What's your website address? Where do you hang out the most at?
Yeah, so I am very active on Instagram and Facebook, but mainly Instagram. So you can find me at That Brunette Victoria, or you can find my business page at The Strategic Social, both on Instagram and Facebook. And my website is www.thestrategicsocial.com.
Perfect. Well, I've enjoyed our time so much today, and I can't wait to start hosting workshops and using all these tips so that we can have amazing events and ways to connect and collaborate and grow our businesses together. So thank you for sharing all these tips with us today.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. You're absolutely amazing, and I'm honored to be a part of this amazing event that you put together.
Thank you so much.